Hey, this is John from Alloy 211. Today's video is on the Sears J.C. Higgins model 583.600 12 gauge semi-automatic gas operated shotgun, chamber for 2 3/4 shells. Is produced from 1953 until 1956. Sears and Roebuck sold a number of outdoor products under the J.C. Higgins brand name. They used the brand name from 1908 until 1962, and it was named after an employee named John Higgins who worked for Sears and Roebuck from 1898 until 1930. They added the C because they thought it would sound better in advertisements, but his name was John Higgins. He was not given a middle name. I didn't really look into him too much. He did hold several different positions with Sears through that time. There was no particular reason that it seemed that they used him to name their outdoor product line, like he wasn't known for being a great outdoor adventurer or anything from what I saw, but there may be a lot more to John Higgins than I realized, so look him up. Also, like Higgins from Magnum PI, I guess. Anyway, they advertised it as being able to fire 5 shots in 1 second that had less felt recoil than your average 12 gauge shotgun. It was also advertised to fire the 4 basic loads from light to heavy field loads to slugs, as well as 2% magnum loads. It is available in 3 models: the lightweight with a plain barrel, the lightweight ventilated with vent rib, which would have that, and then the deluxe model with ventilated rib and choke master choke, which that's one of the things that really makes this shotgun interesting, is this choke that it has on the end. Now, get this up by the camera, and I'll show this to you better here in a moment when we're kind of looking at the rest of the shotgun. But just to give you an idea, it has an adjustable choke here at the end with what looks like a cuts compensator also built into it. So I thought that that was pretty cool. And now you can find these on the used market, and they're generally pretty cheap, running say anywhere from $75 to $250. And as you can see, this one is not necessarily in the greatest condition itself. It's got some pretty heavily pitted metal. The buttstock is in pretty poor shape. But regardless, it still is a functioning semi-automatic shotgun, and this particular one was not very expensive. So it's also got some rust on the barrel, which again, when we get down and closer, I'll show that to you better. But nothing that's on this is actually going to make it not function. So now, when I first borrowed this and took it apart, I did find something interesting, which, go ahead and pull it apart now so you can see how it works. And I'll go ahead and bring the camera down too. See if it'll stay there. Ah, it's staying there. It'll stay there probably until I start dropping the camera down and I have my hands full with that, and then it'll probably say, oh, I want to roll over on my side so I can ding this fine stock up. Anyway, there we go. That's as easy as the trigger guard. Trigger assembly comes out. You just push 2 pins out and it is out. So I'll set that off to the side. I'm not going to take that apart. That's just your basic trigger assembly, So, with your lifter there, which we're going to kind of get into some stuff that I don't particularly care for about this, but if you got it cheap, then who cares? Anyway, that is the trigger assembly out, and I should have done this differently. Go ahead and pull the bolt back and lift up the slider here on the bottom. And then when you do that, you allow the charging handle to go back forward. Here we have, let's pull it out, the bolt, and this is the slider. This is what locks and unlocks the bolt. It's pretty cool the way it works. Now, this particular shotgun, when I took it apart the first time and I lifted it up like this, I had this small piece of metal fall out of it. And at first I looked at it and I thought, I wonder what that is off of. And then I took a little closer look and I saw that this tab had broken off the back of the slider, which this runs on a rail. See if I can get this up here so you can see it decently. Runs in this, well, it's kind of a channel right here. Yeah, that's really hard to see. But it runs through here, and I noticed that it had actually peened down. If I can get it there. There we go. There you go. At the back of that cutout, you can just see that little lip, and it had actually peened that down. So somehow this edge right here had been impacting that, and it eventually broke it off from the way it looked. Anyway, ordered a new part and it seems to be functional. Now, I haven't shot it yet. I will shoot it probably this weekend coming up, and I do plan on making a video of that. I'll go ahead and take this fore end off so you can see the gas system, or, well, gas piston. Oh, I want to make sure I have that on camera better, just in case I shoot that spring out, because you always want to have that sort of thing on camera. Oh, darn. Just came out. I was hoping it maybe shoot out across the ring. You also have a plug, and the fore end just pulls right off, just like that. And here's your gas piston, your action rod. I mean, it's all pretty simple. I mean, if you understand how a gas semi-automatic firearm works, it's pretty simple. I wouldn't really take it apart unless you had to, although it does suggest cleaning it regularly from what I saw, so I guess you would want to do it for that. Anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and slide this fore end back on. Now also, when I took this apart, there's this piece of rolled aluminum in the fore end, and from pictures I saw, I couldn't actually see that this was a part that came on it from the factory, so I don't know if somebody put this in there to help shield the handguard from heat or what they may have done there, but I may put it back in, I may not. We'll see after I do some function testing with it. So anyway, go ahead and put this back together. And the cap, which I'm not totally sure. I think this one may be slightly gnarled up here on the cap, because you have to use a screwdriver to tighten the cap down, and I don't know if that was the way it was originally intended or not. This is so much easier when I'm not trying to do it on camera. And I also don't have a pin sticking to the side of my screwdriver. Oh, we may yet get the chance to see me shoot this spring across the rim. That would be awesome. I think I'm just going to have to give up on that and do it the easy way. At least get it started the easy way. With the standing up. Trying to do it laying down like that, it just really doesn't want to cooperate. And I really don't want to cross thread this in here, so there we go. Now I'll put the rest of it back together here in a moment, but first I wanted to show you the Choke Master choke, the adjustable choke. Now this has different settings on it, from cylinder to improved cylinder to modified to improved modified, which I should have just guessed, to full and extra full. And they're also marked with ranges here at the bottom. And when you're adjusting this, it's actually, get this turned so you can see it. Maybe move this slide a little bit. You can kind of see down there. Now if you look, you can see there are actually pedals down in here that as you rotate this, I don't know how much you can really see that on the camera because they don't really move a whole lot. But as you rotate it, there you can see it's getting a bit of a gap there. There we go. And that is the furthest setting there. As you can see, the petals actually go in. So that's actually pretty cool. I thought that's pretty cool. And then after I thought, wow, that's pretty cool, I thought, man, that's kind of incredibly dangerous as well. Because let's say you have a few rounds loaded into it, and you fire one, and I'm not saying this is at all good gun handling practices, and you should never do this sort of thing, but it definitely sets up a situation where someone could do that, fire a round, it chambers around, and they're like, oh, I want to adjust my choke, and they bring it up to their face, and boom, accidentally shoot themselves in the face. I mean, I guess it's an unlikely possibility, but it just seems like it's a possibility. Although it is really cool. And I kind of can't wait to shoot it just to see what it does, to see how well it works. Like I said, I thought I'd show you some of the pitting that's on this firearm, which is quite a bit. I was told that it was probably stored in a closet. Some heavy pitting on the receiver there as well, which I cleaned this all off. None of it is that deep, but it is definitely not going to win any beauty contest. As you can see, the stock is broken there. It's missing the medallion here. Still has the little shield there that someone scratched initials into. And you can get this, I don't remember if I saw a butt stock. There are still parts available for this. Well, as evidenced by the slider being available. Now I'm going to put this back together, and it's not necessarily the easiest to get back together, I found, simply because you don't have a lot of room here. I guess I shouldn't say that. I do it here on camera. I think it goes together really easy, but I did have some issues with getting that to line up just the way I wanted it to. So it just pushes in, pins go in, pretty much like any other shotgun of this type. There we go. And lock the action back. You have an action release button on this side. Push this button and action closes. Also, push that button up for loading. I found this shotgun to load it was really difficult to load when I kept it with the when I kept it upright, which is how I like to load shotguns. I don't like flipping shotguns over to load them. It's just, I feel it's a bad habit. So I didn't really particularly care for that. I noticed when I tried to do it this way, well, much like that just did, the lifter would drop down. So I get one round in and it dropped down, I'd have to put it back in place. But when I used it like this, flipped over, I didn't seem to have that problem. So anyway, we'll find out how it shoots here coming up in a few days. Hopefully this adjustable choke does something interesting, or at least works. We'll see. And we'll maybe put that 5 rounds in a second to a test. Oh, and it does have your basic crossbolt safety. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button. If you watched some of my other videos and you enjoy those too, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. Thanks and have a good day.